Moving ahead, I would like to invite Shri Pramod Rao, former Executive Director, SEBI, to deliver the special address on future of financialization of gold. A round of applause for Shri Rao.
Good afternoon to all of you, and many thanks to the Bombay Chamber of Commerce, its DG, Mr. Sandeep Khosla, the chair of the PVC committee, Mr. Ashit Kampani, the organizing team, Ms. Praveena Rai, my former colleagues from SEBI, IFSCA, colleagues from RBI, and those who have taken the time to attend this afternoon. I've been asked to speak about financialization of gold, the future of financialization of gold. And before that, I should extend my compliments to Mr. Khosla and Mr. Kampani. They always seem to pick out emerging themes and which become highly relevant and impactful, and which gives an opportunity to a person like me to look at both the potential and the promises and pitfalls, and being able to come here and express some of that. So anyone engaging in future gazing and predictions has a half chance of getting it right or wrong. But when it comes to, I think, gold, one can say with full confidence, with the millennia of history behind us as Indians, that gold consumption will continue to, happen at the pace that it does, and if not, increase. So to me, it's an evergreen demand, and something which I heard Ms. Praveena speak about, both in terms of the second largest import by the country and the way it is impacting our forex and so on. But I think the way to put it in context is there is both a historical, cultural, sentimental attachment that Indians have to gold, and that's not going to disappear at all. In fact, when we speak of financialization, what I should also say is the Indian investor has been quite astute. So apart from acquiring physical gold, gold coins or jewelry, gold ETFs, which have now crossed 2 lakh crores in AUM, sovereign gold bonds, which became a major hit for the investors, digital gold itself, which has drawn its own controversy, e-gold receipts, which SEBI introduced, and the futures, gold futures, which are traded on the MCX. I think all have found a way of, sort of reaching that Indian investor in saying, yes, I want to take exposure to gold via these instruments. To me, that bodes well, because what it signals is there is an acceptance that you can take financial assets and have exposure to gold in a particular form. So it's not resistance to that particular thing which I worry about. With the government and RBI stopping the issuance of SGBs, the regulatory caution on digital gold, and a lukewarm response to EGR, at least my statistics from BSE told me that for 5 years of its existence, less than about 100 crores worth of EGRs got traded. And indeed, I don't know if NSE is going to change that equation, but certainly it's the tax regime. I think Ms. Praveena mentioned about the GST implication of converting it from one to the other and so on, which probably has quite a role to play. So it's really been gold ETFs and the gold futures which have become the regulated products of choice. To me, I will dwell on 3 particular ideas or themes around how I see future of financialization being taken forward. So one, I begin with, of course, digital gold being brought within the regulatory perimeter. It's something I've had occasion to both write about earlier, but I'll take this platform to sort of talk about some of those components of reform once more. I think one is recognizing these platforms and bringing them within the regulatory perimeter would be step one. The EGR framework itself already has several things which are common to what a digital gold platform does. The vault managers are common. At some level, a distinct custodian exists. To my mind, those are exactly the features which digital gold platforms have. But equally, I think one of the things which I advocate is just like mutual funds became enormously successful is because we didn't insist on that they had to be traded in DMAT form or they had to be held in DMAT form. They could be held in non-DMAT form. And to me, that is something which could be considered for EGRs. So that to me is, one part of that reform. Those who want to trade or sell on the exchange, certainly DMAT can be made mandatory for that stage. So the non-DMAT held EGR could be converted to a DMAT EGR and then traded. But those who want to just hold it, could continue sort of doing that. So a seamless conversion could be something which, again, the regulator can consider facilitating. On GST, I'll not dwell on other than to say that if we want financialization, and at some level, the next theme which I'll touch upon is recycling, we need to revisit what is actually occurring in terms of GST. Both the act of buying this gold, the conversion into a EGR, and so on, I think that the GST implication keeps distorting this transactional cost is something to worry about. And yet, to the policymakers, the way I would say is that just as, if it is going to be exchange traded, you anyway have the STT as a mechanism which sort of captures the transactional cost. So you can actually look to that rather than GST as an implication. Finally, I think one key innovation which digital gold platforms have done for their users or consumers is the inherent ability to actually compete with gold metal leasing. Gold metal loans in form of being able to do leasing of the gold that they actually buy at these digital gold platforms. So to me, part of the EGR reform needs to be that the underlying gold at the instruction of the EGR holder could be actually leased out or lent, might actually help, again, in monetizing and giving greater flows, which could happen. Again, RBI does have prudential norms which govern gold metal loans. There are none for the digital gold platforms which do gold metal leasing. But on the other hand, as you introduce it as a feature of EGR, perhaps SEBI can look to and copy the playbook from RBI in putting those prudential norms in place. This would lead to lending or leasing being on disclosures which SEBI can mandate, maybe credit rating of those that are going to be the borrowers or lessees also coming into play. These reforms can begin with the voluntary opt-in for the digital platforms, gold platforms, and then roll on seeing how this is sort of building up. I see Neil has joined here, and I should say that some of these themes I actually wrote for the fine print, and he was kind enough to publish and carry that. The second theme I want to touch upon, and again, Ms. Praveena touched upon that, is recycled gold. If indeed import of gold is not sustainable given the global issues, including Iran, which we don't know whether it's closed out as an issue or not, and I'll not go into that, but truly given the evergreen demand for gold, we need to emphasize recycling of gold. And much has been said, like I said, and I harked it to itself, about the sentimental nature of gold purchase that we have. And I think it comes down to that there are certain festivals where we buy gold. Occasions like marriage, childbirth, naming ceremonies. Some of these will continue to dominate our cultural, I would say, inherent desire to own or have gold. To me, one of the themes on recycling that I want to take to is really coming from Titan. And some of you must have watched, this well-received OTT series on Titan. Of course, that series, that season, focused really on their watchmaking capabilities. But another thing which Titan did as an innovation was really introduce something which is called purity testing. And they introduced carat meters, which allowed people to walk in free of cost, being able to actually check what their gold was, actually in terms of purity. It provided a non-destructive way of checking it, so it didn't chip off the gold jewelry or whatever. It was a spectro analyzer which sort of looked at that and could actually give in few minutes or seconds the result of purity, right? Indeed, it installed this across stores and led to a huge consumer sort of check. The outcomes of the purity test actually shocked many people, right? Because what they had been purchasing from their traditional jewelers or what had been handed down generations in their family, suddenly the caratage appeared to be different from what they perceived or thought it was. And yet, I think Tanishq, Titan built on that theme and sort of said, we are happy to melt it for you. We are happy to then, allow you to redeem it by purchasing gold, which we certainly will test and tell you is 22 carat or 24 carat. And that upended their game for entering the gold retail business, as it were. To me, I think I want to take this example of Titan and Tanishq and what they did to sort of tell the policymakers, can we think of recycling of gold with this lens, right? If we empower the market intermediaries to sort of say, okay, you can actually run purity tests and offer a conversion of that very gold into ingots, is that something which, when done on a market-wide basis, encourage people to both come test for purity, see their own gold with the results with their own eyes, and sort of see the conversion into ingots. And once they are ingots, they could actually be deposited with the vault managers and the EGRs created and so on. Right? To me, this can be transformative. This can lead to recycling at a different scale than what we have sort of previously experienced in gold monetization and so on. To me, tying in with the good delivery norms or the Indian BIS standards, certainly this gold will have far more credibility in terms of purity, in terms of usage and so on. Combined with what I earlier mentioned about being able to lend out or lease out the gold held under EGR, this will equally be remunerative for those that have decided to, sort of recycle their gold in this fashion. So indeed, I'm hoping policymakers don't have to wait for a season 2 of the Titan to sort of showcase their gold business. You can actually lead the story on this. And a regulator-supported campaign which sort of gets the intermediaries into this will really both give confidence to the people at large and those wanting to participate. So some of my XOB colleagues know I do this, so I'm going to take the liberty of doing it. Which is I coin slogans, which then become, I'm hoping, popular or whatever. But since I'm in private sector, I'm hoping that you finally give me royalties for those of you who commercialize it. So one is Har Ghar Ka Sona Bane EGR, right? Could be something which accompanies this campaign of conversion. But I think this recycling, this ability to earn from leasing, lending, could actually lead to a slogan which goes something like "Sone ko kaam pe lagao or paisa kamao," right? And I think these things start to resonate with people because if it is just sitting as idle gold, what is it really doing there? So to me, I think these are the two things which I would summarize from my recycling theme. The third, and indeed probably far more relevant to the market ecosystem, is that for far too long we've had gold, which has been purchased by Indian jewelers, being done through banks on a gold consignment sale basis. We really need to embrace and move to a bullion exchange or a gold exchange where the market pricing is far more transparent and visible to these jewelers. In a way, at IFSCA, we've managed to do this for international imported gold. But for domestic consumption, the consignment sale by banks actually creates far more opacity and probably ends up favoring the larger jewelers who are acquiring this gold really from these banks. To me, markets and indeed an exchange platform becomes far more transparent in terms of discovering prices and so on. So I can only sort of hark to and say that this should be something which the regulators and policymakers need to explore as to how can we actually give fruition to having a domestic price discovery through exchange, which is far more transparent for the jewelers and goldsmiths. I also was hoping, and I will take that opportunity of talking about something which I noticed as a real innovation built on the strength of MCX's gold futures, which is by one of the players, which has actually capitalized on the fact that there are certain segments of gold futures which are physically delivered. So there is this entity called Dhan, and through their Vault app, I think what they enable is that investors to actually take the gold prices and sort of be able to get delivery in a commodity receipt, which is electronically held, of physical gold. To me, this is the best actual, sort of thing of what an exchange-traded price that a retail consumer is being to avail. And to me, the wholesale side will be really what the bullion exchange that I talked about. So with these sort of three themes, EGR reforms, which sort of encompasses and brings in the digital gold within the regulatory perimeter, this crafting and creation of a scheme or a strategy which sort of encourages recycling of gold with purity testing, with conversion of that jewelry into or that gold into ingots, into EGRs, I think will be the second sort of theme. And the third really is this gold exchange, which can replace or compete with the consignment sale basis of gold. I think these can be the real transformation of the gold for India. So with that, let me pause and thank you again, Mr. Khosla, Mr. Kampani, for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a thoughtful address. I request Sandeep Khosla, Director General, Bombay Chamber, to please present memento to Mr. Rao as a token of appreciation. A big round of applause.